Hey everyone, welcome to Indie Game Arcade, podcast all about indie games. And this episode, we're talking about Haste Broken Worlds. I am your mail delivery person who's trying to get you a letter before your world crumbles apart. My name's Chris.
I don't know anything about this game. My name's Joseph.
Perfect. Someone didn't do their homework.
Is that my homework to play cozy games?
Assigned?
Wait, what is the one we're talking about?
Dude, here's the thing, man. This ain't a cozy game, Joseph. There's nothing cozy about this.
Not your grandpa's cozy game.
This ain't your step grandpa's cozy game. This is Haste Broken Worlds.
Oh no, I did play that one and I beat it. Okay, so I don't know. I'm your cute girl running as fast as Sonic, Joseph. I had nothing.
I've seen you dressed as a girl before.
I've done it before. I'll do it again.
Kiki's delivery service.
Yeah.
I saw that one. Yeah. I don't know if I would say cute girl, but you know.
Strong girl fine. Though. Yes.
It's fine. Strong girl. Okay. Now that, yes. Game start. Haste Broken Worlds released on April Fool's Day, which I didn't know when it was releasing. So when I saw it came out on April Fool's Day, I was just like, nah, this is a joke. And then I looked into it and I was like, oh shit, it's not a joke. This actually is out. That's cool. So yeah, April 1st, 2025, developed and published by Landfall and retails for $19.99. For a quick description, this is a fast-paced third-person running and parkour game where you play as Zoe, an interdimensional mail courier delivering letters. However, the universe is collapsing as she does so, and she doesn't know why. She's learning it through the game. So yeah, I'm glad to know that you did play this because I thought, man, I'm just going to be like saying all this stuff and then having to convince him that this is a cool game to play because my track record for you is not that great the last several weeks.
Not good. Yeah. Not if it's like story rich. I don't know, whatever the tags that you like are usually not my thing. Yeah.
No. So this one, the very
visual
first time I saw,
it's not a visual novel, and that was the most appealing part to me.
This is not a visual novel. No. So you can be happy about that one.
Rest assured.
The first time I saw this was actually I saw it before Steam Next Fest. I saw this like a while ago, I think through Blue Sky, and I had wish listed it back then, but then really paid attention to it during Steam Next Fest. And got to learn more about it. And man, it is a really interesting game, honestly. It's very, very... The thing I would use to describe this word the most, if I had a word to describe it, is fluid. And I don't mean like, drinking water or when it leaks right back out of you. I mean like the gameplay is very fluid. So yeah, it's really cool. So it is a roguelite, and it is basically like you are having to complete shards, and these shards are basically map runs, and I believe there's 10 in the game. So like when you start a shard, you kind of go through this portal. It's a Slay the Spire looking map layout where you are, picking the route that you want to go. Doing like levels or visiting like a merchant, healing, things like that, all that good stuff. But the main point of this game is gotta go fast. You're not a blue hedgehog, but you're still running really fast. But you also gotta land really well. And landing well will help you maintain your momentum or go faster if you are not going fast enough. You land badly, though, then, you're going to slow down, which is not good in this game because, as we said earlier, you are basically running through different dimensions in this universe. And the premise of this game is that the universe is collapsing. So, like, behind you at all times, the world is literally being corrupted and then falling apart. So like if you slow down or something, it's going to catch up to you. And then, man, it is really, really hard to get momentum back if you get caught in that at all. Also, if you like run into like a tree, a rock or something, it is really hard to build that momentum back up, but it can be done. But I want to ask you, though, what was your experience like with this before we go any deeper?
I think it took me a little bit to warm up to the mechanic side of it, just because I was trying to understand it. Like, what am I supposed to do exactly? But because I was thinking, I just need to angle myself right as I press the button, but that's not the case. You have to push it like as close to the ground as you can on a downward slope. So it's like a double pronged sort of approach. Your descent, like as you're like leaping over hills and stuff, you'll start to float, and then you have a button that descends at a certain rate. And so your goal is to try to hit downward slopes. And then as you're about to hit a downward slope, you press the button and like, it'll say you made a perfect landing. And then you'll start to like go faster and faster and faster. And there's stars that can be collected throughout the level too. And so you're trying to like follow those along, because those will also give you some sort of, I think that is what powers up your like snowboard type thing.
Yeah, your hoverboard.
Hoverboard, yeah.
Which you can use to get like a boost for to speed yourself up a little bit.
Yeah, so that's like a recovery mechanism if you do get slowed down, or just something to speed up even more if you need to, or as you're going over a large cliff that has a big gap and you want to just make sure you've got enough speed. So there's kind of like a interesting approach to it. Once I got the hang of it though, it became pretty smooth. I didn't have any trouble. I don't even think I ever lost or anything. I think I just like went straight through and beat the boss like the first try. So it's not, at least in this initial demo, was not like difficult, but I guess the most challenging part was just trying to understand how the mechanic worked. But once you do, it does flow very smoothly.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like there is a bit of a steep learning curve right at the very beginning when you're trying to understand the mechanic of landing correctly. And like you, I was not understanding that at first. And I think I was pressing the button like too quick or like too soon before I really needed to, and was also thinking that it really had to do with the angle in which I was approaching. But really, the angle doesn't matter. It's just that you need to be able to catch it on that downward slope. It kind of became one of those things where I started with just a lot of like okay landings, and you get that text feedback as you're going, like you would in, almost like an arcade style game of like, okay, good, perfect. So it took me, I had started the run, and I think I got about halfway through and I failed, I died. And that's when I was like, I feel like there's something not clicking with this. And once I had died, started over again, all of a sudden, whatever it was clicked. And then I'm like, oh, okay, now I get it. I'm figuring out the, landing those downward slope, things, rolling, getting those perfects. And then I was going like way faster. And when you are going fast, that's when this game is super fun. Especially like with the music in this game. The music is super fast, real crunchy kind of sounding. Just gets you like really hyped up. It's really exciting.
What I appreciated was when you go over, so these are like kind of like little self-contained maps. When you go over the edge of them, you are able to like rotate very rapidly to realign where you're about to land. So yeah, that will come into play a lot, and I'm sure like a ton in later levels. But even in like some of these first few, they're like on the boss specifically, there's like these explosions that are just happening all around that you're having to avoid. So it's like, oh, I can't land here because there's literal lava on the ground. So I need to like pivot in the air and move around perfectly so I can go back and like attack the boss. And so there's a lot of momentum in this, but you're not strictly like you're not like completely handicapped by the momentum that you've got going. You are able to move around in the air to some degree, or at least curve yourself in a way that you can figure out where you're about to land. So I would say mechanically, it feels really good to play. And as far as these running games go, I don't think I've played one since Neon White really, but it has, it's not, I wouldn't say it feels like that game at all, but if you are into that kind of like fast paced sort of thing, if you like Sonic the Hedgehog or any Sonic games, think about that. Well, the 3D ones at least, with the added mechanic of make sure you land on the correct angle, or else that's really all that's going to hold you back. But again, not super challenging in the demo that we played, but I bet it will get a lot harder as you go, or as you try to unlock very specific things. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of nuance to it.
Yeah, and like I said, so like in the demo, you play through one shard. There are 10 in the game.
Oh yeah.
So the levels will definitely increase, and like the level of difficulty. And I know that the different shards are like different biomes and things as well, which is kind of cool. Like I think the only other one I can remember is like a snow one or something. Yeah, I don't know what the other ones are like. And there's 4 bosses in the game, even though there's like 10 shards. To me, that I was a little disappointed finding that out, because like I don't know, I would like to see like a different boss for each shard. But I guess like you get some repeat bosses, but like their difficulty goes up quite a bit from what I hear when they do repeat. So not sure how difficult, but yeah.
It does feel really satisfying though when you are like on a good streak and you land those, when you land perfectly and you just get that momentum going, like that feels really good. It's got a good kind of adrenaline rush to it. And as these levels proceed, like it started feeling better and better. So I'm looking forward to, if I do decide to pick it up, then I look forward to like seeing what difficulty like it actually offers up and how it can change it in a way that feels like a natural sort of evolution of that game, the game mechanics, and doesn't feel like, oh, this is just like artificially harder now because they're doing, they're throwing cheap things at you. I don't know if you get like extra sort of things for your character that you can do. I bet you will, but I don't know that there was a lot of indication that that's going to happen, or if you're just kind of like, you're running and you have your board. But if it's a roguelite, then I'm sure there's unlockables that will be provided along the way.
Well, there is like the shop. I don't know how much is available through the demo when you do get items there. Like I felt like I kept seeing a lot of the same sort of stuff, but there's items that you can buy there. Some are for immediate use, which are like,
oh yeah, I forgot about the shop. I didn't even use it.
But there's also those trinkets that are like passive stacking things. So like you can kind of create a little bit of a build to do like certain things. Some of them will like synergize with each other depending on what you're like picking up. There are some that have like I don't want to call it one-time use. I mean, there are some one-time use items, but there's also some like, in addition to the passive, some that give you different like tools to use during the thing. Like there's this one spring that you can get, and let's say like you're coming in hot, but you don't have enough height and you're not going to land where you need to land. And instead you would maybe just hit, the side of the cliff and fall down.
Hitting the side of the cliff is
that sucks.
Yeah. Because it doesn't just end it right there. You see yourself fall as you crash into the wall.
Yeah, it takes a while and it makes you really sad. But like that spring, if you have that equipped and you hit that before you hit that cliff, it'll give you an upward boost really quick. So then you can avoid things like that. So having something like that equipped can really, come in handy. So like there's a lot of different things like that. And that's with those picking up the little star, like the kind of little shard things that you were talking about earlier. So that is some of the stuff that you can get at the shops. And I don't know if there's going to be an expansion to that. I'm assuming there probably is, because I'm guessing it's probably limited, the things that were available in that demo. But it was cool. Like I like having those. And then as far as like a story to the game too, like, I mean, there's the idea of, you're running through this thing while the world's collapsing. You're a mail courier. I was like, why? And why is the world collapsing? When you go to the campfires, which are like, you think of a Slay the Spire, you go to the, little rest area, you can heal or whatever. Here, there's like the little campfire icon. You go there, you walk up to the campfire and it'll heal your health all the way back, which you only have like 3 hearts, by the way. So if you lose those 3, then your run is over. But there's always an NPC there, and you can talk to them, and they will, through talking with them, you'll learn not just a little bit about like that NPC, but you learn a little bit about Zoe as a character, and you learn a little bit about what the overarching story is. So I think that that's really interesting that they put those things in, but it's kind of like you have to sort of seek those things out. You know, like you could just play through this game if you don't need to heal or don't find yourself needing to heal or something like that. Like you can totally like bypass any of the story stuff and just, you know, try to get the best time you can. And that's one of the things we haven't talked about either is each level, there's a rating system too. Like, you know,
yeah. I was
know,
getting
A rank,
S rank a
like
lot
all that
too.
stuff.
It felt good.
Yeah. So there's those. So you could just play through the game like that. But, you know, there's also for those lore nerds like myself, you go there in your journey and talk to people and then sort of piece together this is like overarching mystery of like what exactly is going on with this world. Who am I? What's my part in it? Who are these people? Because I feel like every time I went to a campfire, it was a different NPC. So like, I don't know how many are in the game, but I just thought that was interesting that even though I had started like the run over because I said I failed that first time, it was a different NPC, you know, depending on where I went to. And like each stop, it was always somebody different. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's the breaks in between that are like I'm torn on whether I like that or not because it's like this is a game about speed, so it's like forcing me to slow down and talk to people. That's like oh, just get me back out onto the track.
I don't want to
just want to run.
Do you remember doing the challenges? Because those were, so instead of just going from all the regular levels are you go from A to B. There's always like a portal at the end. You're trying to get to as fast as you can. But then there's also these like challenge levels that you can get to. That's the one marked with the skull. And those are kind of random. There's one that's like you have so much time to like fill out the map, which is the whole area is kind of like grayed out and you have to run through the whole thing, fill it all out and it'll color itself back in. There's the survive for whatever, a minute or whatever, as like just chaos is kind of going on around you. There's one where you race somebody, which is extremely difficult. And I never was able to do that one.
I didn't do the race one. That sounds fun though.
Yeah. And then there's like the snake trail one where you are, you think of the game Snake and it basically becomes you where you're kind of like going all around the map, but you're leaving this trail behind you and you have to like keep going around the map for like so long, but you can't cross through the trail that you created because if you do, you lose the challenge. So like that one I think is really interesting. I liked that one. But yeah, so there's a lot of different things in this game that aren't just the go to A to B. You got the rating system, you got the ability to create builds depending on what you buy, you got all the different challenges. You have story if you want story, but you can bypass all that stuff. And you do have boss fights like we talked about. You and I only, really got to go against the one and it was fairly easy, like really all we had to do was not get hit by lava and then we just ran into him. I mean, which was satisfying to slam into that guy and see him go flying. But,
Yeah, you just got to run into him like 3 times. But like, as you said, that was just the first boss out of 5, 6 or whatever. So 4. Oh, well.
Exactly.
but you did say they got more difficult, or even if it was the same version. So
yeah,
I don't know, like color wise, audio wise, especially soundtrack is killer. I'm really like I'm silent over here because I'm like looking through the screenshots. Like, should I pick this game up? I feel like I'm going to because it's like $15.
This is really cool.
Oh man, yeah. I'm gonna put it in my cart. I got to think about it, but it feels like something
literally
I would get.
Literally, as we're talking about it, you're like, yeah, I'm buying this right now.
I just had to think on it. And I mean, it for what it is, it's definitely a different type of game than I normally play. But I did like it. I like the adrenaline rush that I got from doing that. When something is going so fast, It's just very fun to me. So I think I'm gonna grab it. Yes. All right. I'm buying it right now.
It's definitely one of those games where like you get into a zone with it. And once you get in that zone, like you feel good and you don't want to stop, right? You just want to keep playing.
That's the hard part for me is like when I am playing a game like that and then I have to slow down and go back to real life. Then everything just seems like slow motion to me.
You got to go to work and like you're just running down the hall as fast as you can, like Naruto running and
out of the way,
like parkouring over everything.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, you brought up Sonic, you brought up Neon White, and my head kind of went to both of those, like Sonic Generations, Neon White. And I know they don't play exactly the same, but if you like those games because of like the speed and just the idea of kind of moving through these levels at a fast pace and like the ranking of those things, then I think you're going to love this game because it takes those ideas and really runs with it. And I know I just made a pun. Fuck me, whatever.
Oh.
They do have so this developer also made a game in 2016 that has some very similar ideas to it. It's called Cluster Truck. So like, I think that, yeah, I know, man.
That's pretty good.
I think it's worth checking out too. So it's got some similar aspects. Basically, during the levels, instead of like running through these different dimensions with stuff collapsing behind you, you're running across the top of a bunch of semi trucks. It's like, you know, just a super, super long line of semi trucks. And you're just running across all the semi trucks, dodging obstacles and like all kinds of traps and just pure chaos. And it sounds so silly, but it actually looks like so much fun. And it does have a lot of lasers, just like this game, which we didn't talk on. There are lasers everywhere in this freaking game. So if you're a fan of lasers, this is a game for you.
Needs a laser tag on it.
It does need a laser tag. Maybe they need to. Oh, laser tag.
I didn't mean to. I'm sorry.
I know, but it happened, and now we have to live with it.
Dang it.
Combo.
Let's move on and talk about what other games we've been playing this week.
From a few episodes ago, like I'd been talking about Metal Bringer a lot. I played some more of that. I've gotten like to the end of it, but I still cannot overcome the final boss. And it is such a weird thing. And the issue I have with this, and I don't even know like if it's like it doesn't feel like a skill issue as much as it is just a endurance thing, because by the time you get to the last boss, you have to fight through so much, and then like a group of 3 or 4 sub bosses right before the last boss. By the time you get there, your mech is already so worn down that it just has to like, you know, tap you, and then it breaks, and it's like, okay, now I'm in my labor form, which is your robot form, and it's like I can't really do a lot in this form against you, the final boss. So it feels like there needs to be something in between that allows me to heal up my mech, pay like whatever currency I need to do that or something, because it just feels like that is not a great way to try to approach a final boss situation. And maybe there's something I'm missing. Maybe I need to like equip something that will auto heal me in some way, but as it stands, like no matter how powerful I am, it doesn't matter, because if my mech breaks, then all the power-ups and everything are essentially gone too. So it's like, cool. Now it's just me and my little robot form, and I know I'm going to get crushed by this guy.
Yeah, that'd be basically like a toddler trying to go fight like John Cena. It's not going to work.
No, and it hasn't. So that's where I'm hung up on it. I've gotten to him a few times, but it takes a while. And by the time you get there and just get like crushed because your mech breaks, it's just very disappointing. So I want to persevere and I want to push through to finally finish the game. But at the rate it's going, it's like I don't see really any other angle I have, because everything is easy up until that last boss. And then it's like, oh, cool. Just destroying my entire build. I still think it's a good game, but I just want to say like the last boss I'm hung up on that. And I don't know if it's artificial difficulty or if there's just something I'm missing.
Next episode, you're going to be still stuck on the final boss of Metalbringer and the final boss of Lone Star. You're just going to be in final boss territory forever. That's where you live.
It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah. Then you move on to a different game where you'll be stuck at the final boss. Like it'll be the Knock on the Coffin Lid DLC. We'll get stuck on that
just
one.
the way.
Exactly. I played a game that was submitted to us by the developer. This is Rosewater. And I had talked about this game, like I brought it up on, I think it was like one of my radar ones several weeks ago. This is a point and click Western from Grundislav Games, and this was released March 27th. Interestingly, I didn't know this till I looked farther into it. It's connected to other games that they have created. Like they have a game called Lamplight City. And in this game, a lot of the characters make reference to like some big disaster that happened in Lamplight City that they had like heard about, read about in the paper. So I'm like, okay, what happens in that other game that, you know, everyone here is talking about it like it's 9/11 or something. Like I'm like interested now and that's kind of clever too, because now that I had no interest in the other game, now I'm like, okay, now I need to know. Anyway, you play as Harley Legere, who arrives in town on the promise of taking on a writing commission for the local paper. And then you end up, through a series of events, you end up within a posse, a good old-fashioned posse, going on a treasure hunt. This is, like I said, it's a point-and-click game. It's not a Joseph game. You'll get upset. But
I've already checked out.
You're already mad. But no, this feels very cinematic in its story and presentation. Like the writing is really good, like surprisingly good. I went into this, like I was somewhat interested already because I do like point and click games, but I've never played one by this developer. And they've done, I think this is kind of their specialty, is they've done a few like this. And I know that they've been around for a while too. The only point and click kind of games like this that I'm used to are games that are always trying to pay homage to like the LucasArts kind of stuff. So there's always like some sort of comedy, you know, like it's usually goofy. Something like when I talked about Locomotive was it Locomotive? Yeah, that came out several months ago. But this one it's just superb writing all around. So it feels like a Western with like some drama to it. And there's some comedy to be had in there as well. But this is a straight up Western story. Very choices matter. I did something early that got me put in jail, and I met a character that way that I wouldn't have met otherwise. And I think that that's actually kind of cool. It's fully voice acted with 60 characters, which is crazy to me. I love that. And also, if you need any more, like, you know, I'm always open. So I do a really good cowboy if you ever need somebody. I'm good. And one thing that I have not encountered before in a point and click is that there are some randomized encounters and side stories that can occur. I've never seen that in a point and click game like that. It's always been a very linear kind of experience. So I'm surprised, and maybe I shouldn't be. Maybe I should be like, you know, more open to that idea of like, you know, of course, it's a game. Anything can happen. But I think because I've never seen it in a point and click before, I was just kind of like, oh shit, that's cool. I love that. The animation of the characters are rotoscoped, which is really neat. Gives things a little bit more of that cinematic kind of feel when you like throw a punch at somebody. But this is the one caveat I will say that my hang up with this game is the art itself. To me, just as a personal preference, I'm not saying this art is bad, but as a personal preference, I feel like it looks very plain. Like it just doesn't feel like it's got a discernible style to me that really stands out. Even though, like, I want to hammer this home. The story in this is super good. The characters are very fleshed out. There's a bit of that 90s kind of cheesy charm to it. A little bit that reminds me of some of the older point and clicks from days gone by. And I enjoy that. But like as Harley, you feel like you have a lot of agency. So you could be nice and agreeable, or you could be gruff and tough, which is the route I went. I would definitely recommend this game. If you like point and click games, if you like Westerns, this is like one to definitely check out. So big thanks to Grundislav Games for sending this to us because I've had a good time with it. I think I'm maybe 2 hours in and I'm gonna keep going with it. Like I want to see this to the end because I'm having a good time.
Yeah, I was trying to think. I was like, well, could I play that? And it just as I'm watching it and listening to what you were saying, I just don't think it would keep my attention. That's the thing, really.
Yeah. In all honesty, I don't think, like, there are other point and clicks I would probably recommend for you. I don't think this would be one of them, but that's not to say it's not a great game. Like, I really am having a good time with it, but it's just not your preference.
No. I just point and click in general. So I wouldn't even put it on this game at all. It's just point and click is not my thing.
There are a few out there that I think have some crossover that I think you would be somewhat interested in if you gave it a shot. So one of these days, maybe I'll get you to try one, but that remains to be seen.
Final round.
I'll tell you what is up my alley, though. There's a game coming out on the 17th, April 17th, called Mandragora, Whispers of the Witch Tree, and it looks amazing. It is a Metroidvania Souls-like action RPG. If you just look at a video of this, it looks so spectacular, and it's one I've been looking forward to for a little while. I hadn't mentioned it yet because I didn't want to mention it until it got closer to the release date. But by the time this comes out, this episode, I think it will be releasing the following week. This is a perfect time to bring it up. If you're into Metroidvanias and Souls-like games, so Metroidvanias with a little bit more of a difficulty curve to them, then I think this will be right up your alley too. I know it's mine, so this is one I'll be spending many hours in, and it's like a high fantasy type of thing. There are different classes to specialize in. Crafting, if that's up your alley. Like, I don't know how the crafting works in this game yet, but I don't know. It just looks so good, and it's everything I love combined. So I know I'm going to love this game.
Some of the artwork reminds me of Ender Magnolia and Ender Lilies a little bit. Obviously, like, completely different style world.
Super loosely. If you want to make that comparison at all.
No, it's mainly like just how some of the enemies are animated and stuff kind of reminds me of it a little bit. But it looks really cool, honestly. That's a big game, 40 plus hour story. Holy cow.
And that's like your first playthrough kind of thing, but it seems like there's a lot of like customization options and giant skill trees too. So it feels like there's going to be some good replayability to this already bulky game. So again, I'm sure I'll be spending, if this isn't the game that I have, the indie game that I have the most hours in by the end of the year, I'd be surprised.
Well, I'm going to keep tabs on it then, so that whenever ends up being Metal Bringer, you'll be like, son of a bitch.
No, Metal Bringer will be uninstalled before I spend that much more time on it. If it's not careful. If it doesn't just let me beat that final boss, that's all I need.
Never. No, you're not allowed. I'll roll up a newspaper and bat you on the nose with it. No.
He's already doing that to me. The boss is doing that to my mech, and it's breaking immediately.
He's doing it in game.
Yes.
Yeah, a little digital paper. So I've got two I wanted to bring up real quick. One, I don't think you're going to care about whatsoever. The other one, I think you're going to have some vested interest in. Which one do you want to hear first?
Give me the bad news first, and then the good news.
The bad news. Okay, so Blueprints comes out on April 10th. This is kind of like a strategic puzzle-solving escape room game. You go into a mansion. You are tasked with solving this overarching mystery to find this hidden 46th room, and you have a blueprint to map this place out. However, like, you go in and you see, like, you get like these cards that will give you a random allotment of, here's like 3 rooms you can try to explore. You pick which one you want to go to. You'll go there. There are things in that room you need to solve to figure out like where this needs to go into the blueprint or something, right? So why do I always pick the games that feel impossible to explain in an audio format? God damn it. You just explore a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things you need to uncover to basically be able to then unlock other rooms, right? There's 45
so you're doing
rooms.
A lot of stuff and things to unlock other stuff and things.
Doing stuff and things to unlock other stuff and things. Yes, thank you. You were on the same page with me. Then you'll get to choose, what are the next rooms that you want to explore. So the thing is, you have only so many steps that you can take each day, right? Because this is a roguelite. If you don't manage things right, figure out everything you need to figure out, and there's a lot more nuance to it than I'm explaining, but it's difficult. I'm probably going to play it this coming week, so maybe I'll be able to talk about it a little bit more next week. We'll see. It'll reset the next day, and then the rooms shift around, and you're kind of starting from square one again. So if that sounds super mind-breaking and bending, it is, and I think it's going to be extremely challenging, and I'm really looking forward to it. So that is Blueprints, but it's spelled Prince, not Prince as in blueprints.
All right, so that's the bad news. What's the good news?
So Promise Mascot Agency comes out also on the 10th. This is one I've been looking forward to forever. This is an open world RPG by the folks that made Paradise Killer. That is one of my favorite indie games of all time. But this world, this game is a world where mascots are living beings, and you are their manager, befriending different mascots to try to help them work out their problems so they keep their jobs, all the while solving the mystery of like what happened to you as the player character, whose name is Michi, who is an exiled Yakuza, and everyone seems to be plotting against him and causing a lot of problems and stuff. It looks absolutely insane, and that is, I think, what has my attention the most is like the different mascots, and they're so weird. I think the one that you partner with first is like a severed thumb mascot. And when I say these are mascots, it's like when you think of, you know, going on like a street corner or something and there's someone like in an outfit or whatever. It's that, but these things are living, breathing things. Like it's not a person in a suit. Like this is just a living severed thumb creature who is trying to make their living as a mascot for something. And you're in charge of them. And you're also ex-Yakuza. And people might be coming for you because you're ex-Yakuza.
I'm trying to understand what I'm even even at as I watch the trailer for this. There's a lot of driving or boating around, but I don't know what like the combat actually looks like. There's cards involved. Yeah, it reminds me a lot of the Like a Dragon games because of I'm seeing so many different mechanics thrown at you that I don't even know what the main one actually is. Like it looks like driving is the main mechanic, but there's also cards involved in different sort of like goofy sort of scenes. Maybe there's combat. Yeah, it's really hard to discern what's going on, but I don't know. Could be fun. I'll add it to my wish list. I'm curious.
I don't know what the reason is, but your character always has a broom with him for whatever reason.
I assume you're like a janitor or something. And yeah, I don't know. Well, you said you're ex-Yakuza, right? Actually?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then I have no idea why you have a broom.
Yeah, why not, man? Why not? But yeah, it looks absolutely insane. I'm very much looking forward to this. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. That's coming out again on the 10th. This is from Kaizen Gameworks, the makers of Paradise Killer, one of my favorite games of all time. And dude, Paradise Killer, best soundtrack of any indie game I've ever played. I am so addicted to it. It has permanently changed my algorithm for Spotify. I've listened to it that much. So, God, I hope this game has a good soundtrack to it.
Oh, I bet it will. Captain Sign. There's so many different mascots. They're so weird. Tofu.
I know.
I love how the thumb mascot has like a bloody looking bottom half. Like he's a ripped off thumb. It's so weird.
Right?
I love it.
Yeah. Man, it's going to be nuts. And I can't wait for that to come out. Speaking of things I can't wait for you listeners who enjoyed this episode to do us a favor and share it with someone who loves indie games. See, that was a much better transition than the last episode, right? Come on.
Yes.
As always, you can catch me playing some of the games we discussed on the show, along with other Let's Play content over at our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/nerdsloth, and catch hundreds of hours of bonus content for $1 a month by subscribing to the Nerdsloth Treehouse at patreon.com/nerdsloth. We also have an exclusive podcast there, which is the Nerdsloth podcast for those at our $5 tier. And at nerdsloth.com, you can find a link to our Discord, our merch store. You can join our subreddit for Indie Game Arcade, help us post more reviews of indie games so more folks can find games that suit their play style. Like, don't post any for Joseph if they have visual novel in the tag. Like, put on the title, not Joseph game.
Yeah, or else you will be blocked.
Brackets. Or he'll get so upset, he'll go in there. He's going to dox you.
Yeah, blocked and reported for harassment if you send me
this
visual novels.
Plays visual novels, and I'm doxing him. So he doxes me every day because of it.
Everybody knows your
because
address
of that,
now.
Yeah, I know.
Game over.
That's game over for us. My name's Chris,
I'm Joseph.
and we'll continue on the next episode.
Continue.
Indie Game Arcade is recorded and produced by Sloth Creative. If you're looking for more gaming content, head over to youtube.com/nerdsloth. For additional podcasts, go to nerdsloth.com. If you'd like to support the show, there are multiple tiers available at patreon.com/nerdsloth, with hundreds of hours of bonus content from everything we do at Sloth Creative, including bonus gameplay videos of the games we talk about on the show. The theme music for the show is Retro Game Tapes by Audio Lime. If you'd like to get in touch with us, or if you're an indie game developer and would like us to consider reviewing your game, send us an email to podcasts@nerdsloth.com with the subject line Indie Game Arcade.